How much sleep have you gotten over the last year?
What sleep? All seriousness, I think about 2 or 3 hours.
I know it's the holidays and it's the end of the 10. Well, I know this, just in the last time. Here's what I've done. I called Black Friday. That was the beginning of December.
I was there.
Days of that. Actually, I called 3 days of it.
Oh.
I did just doing Charlie Abigail. It was a banana show, and we should be on a plane to Las Vegas right now.
No, delays.
Can't get a flight. Can't get a flight and save our lives. So
No, we can't. It was delays, and the next flight to Vegas would have been around 3 in the morning, and we were like, screw that. I might as well drive.
Look, anybody can tell you that's tonight, right?
Right. I mean, honestly, this just reminds me of the times I had to just jam in a car with like 5 other guys.
Oh my god. Well, this I gotta hear.
Okay, so Malik Brown in his rookie years, those were fun times. So I think we used to have to take road trips because Josh Bishop was such a cheapskate. He didn't want to, if he knew, it's like the only time he's ever said it, he's like, I'm not gonna take a plane to anywhere in the United States if I know I can drive there. Now, if we're going to Hawaii or we're going to Japan or England, screw it, I'll take a plane. But if I can drive there, we can drive there.
Is he ready on the plane?
No, he's very strict with his money. He's like, to him, it's like, why should I waste $80 on a plane ticket when I can just use it for gas money to get to where I need to go?
So it's $80. So it's either $80 on a ticket or $80 for gas, and there's no guarantee that the $80 for gas will get you off.
Right, he was weird about that, but that was him. He's just like, what's this, 5 hours? Screw it, we'll drive. Freaking we drive from Alabama to Indiana or something, and he's like, I don't need a freaking plane for that, or we'll go to Wisconsin up in the north somewhere. He's like, I don't need a freaking plane to get up there, let's just drive. And it would be me, him, O'Shea, and Steven Santos, and it was the weirdest thing because I'm in the car with like 3 veterans, to say the least, and I'm just like, I feel like the young boy in there.
Right.
And
and they're probably looking at you like, like weird or something. Like, how's this guy in this?
No, Santos kind of kept to himself. Evan, he was just like, "Sup, dude? How's it going, man? It's cool to be in the car with you." And Josh is being Josh, just focused on the road, and Evan and me are just shooting the breeze and all that. And
right. Well, I hope Josh was something.
Oh, right. I mean, but that's what it was. And I wasn't like it was like, I think year 4 in my career when I started knowing them and getting to know them pretty well, and I knew Delavine and all them, and
right.
Yeah, I used to take road trips with them because that was when IPW was around. And I used to take road trips with those guys, and it was funny. Just these 7-hour rides, and everybody's out of their mind, and I can't tell you how many arguments I've heard from Santos just telling Evan, I swear to God, stop fucking smoking in here. Josh over there laughing every time.
So I'm
And
guessing Evan couldn't stay off the damn weed.
no, no, he didn't care. He was, dude, he's an avid pot smoker. Have you been in a locker room in SoCal? Yeah, don't. But Santos would always be that one guy to just be like, dude, you know we're not in a legal state, right? Don't do this.
Like you're gonna get the show. You're gonna get the show shut down, and
you're gonna get us fucking arrested. That's the last thing we do.
I'm gonna have to switch to Carnival because you ain't here.
Oh my god. Yeah, it was a trip though, but it's those little things that made me enjoy the trips, to say the least.
Yeah.
And you know, I figured, I mean, I'm just surprised you wanted to come with me, but I mean, we're both busy people that need to be there.
Yeah. I think there are people that don't know, and I don't know how many like still around, because you know it goes back a ways. I guess for a while we didn't really. I guess it's like we didn't get.
Oh.
Didn't get along, didn't like each other.
Well, my thing was I heard too many horror stories from people I knew that went to CCL, and how I am, I'm just loyal to the T, to my boys, to my friends, and I make it a point to be like, well, this was like a young me pretty much. It's weird saying young me because I'm still like in my 20s, but early 20s and late teens, I was like, I spoke my mind, didn't care about the repercussions. I still do to an extent, but I do kind of calm myself on what I'm saying. But yeah, back
you like to have a different perspective.
Yeah, I guess. Yeah, because back then it was like, holy fuck, what is this guy doing to these people? You know, because I sat there and I'm just like, are you really putting the talent over, or are you just handing them fucking easy checks? You know, because I sat there looking at the show and I was like, Jesus, I should fucking be over there. If I knew you're gonna give away that kind of fucking deal, better than have these dudes anyway. Let me fucking go here. You know, that was my idea.
Right.
But I mean, I've grown to have a respect for them over time, and you know, I felt there was a lot of guys that I was best friends with that I felt didn't get a good shake that they deserved, and you know, there was, you know, Smokey and Delavine and Kazarian and a few others. I just was like, what the fuck are you guys doing? You know, like I just kind of, I was like, I felt some kind of way how they were treated, and yeah, there was a point where I was just like, how do you keep doing what you do and then not know the mistakes you make? And that's how I felt. But then I got to know you. Yeah, it's a bit different now.
Yeah, I will say this. I don't think I'm not a perfect booker by any means. I mean, if the perfect booker exists, yeah, like I'm pretty sure they'd be rolling in billions of dollars, and they'd be, you know, giving the WWE some kind of run for their money.
Right, or they just retire because how bored they got. But
right.
But yeah. And it's funny because now I'm just thinking about it now, because a lot of stuff's been going on with me in the past couple of months, and usually, no lie, usually I would have Zahaya in this car with me, but there's reasons why I don't have him in this car now.
Yeah. I think people know this, but yeah. In case people don't, someone might be watching this for the first time. Wait a minute, who's Zahaya? Why you don't have him in the car? What's going on?
Yeah, this was supposed to be a thing we would do a lot, but stuff happened.
Yeah. I think we did a whole band about over in DC, didn't we?
We did.
It was like a whole, yeah.
To make the long story short, I found out some stuff, and I found out some stuff, felt manipulated. I was manipulated and used. And it led to a lot of stuff, and it led to me going to a ZZW event, angry and attacking him, and it led to a lawsuit, which
I think it's a one, isn't it?
Uh, it is, but I can't really talk much about it.
I get that. You know.
The only thing I will say is that the lawsuit might end soon because uh, guess who shows up? Guess who shows up to court and guess who doesn't show up?
Oh, okay. So I'm guessing Zahari doesn't show.
No, he doesn't. The first 2 weeks of the first 2 days that he was supposed to be there, he didn't show up.
Okay, and I guess you did.
I did. I showed up for every one of them, and he didn't show up. And so his representative of him showed up, and yeah, it was funny. So I'll just say also, she was there too, but I won't go into details what we talked about.
Okay.
But, and you know who I mean by she.
I think I did.
But funny when I think about it, and I just thought about it now, it's like, Eddie, you know this isn't the first time I've been to court, right?
It's not. I don't think it is.
No, it's not the first time I went to court.
What was the first time? If it's like a sore subject with you,
no, it's not a sore subject. If anything, it's a funny story yet effed up story for the situation. The big difference between then and now is it wasn't just me having to deal with a specific person. I was one out of 55 employees at a wrestling organization that took its owner to court because of a plethora of issues he gave out.
So it was like a class action sort of?
Oh, it was a class action lawsuit.
Yeah.
So it's been so long, so I can talk about this easily. I can't talk about the Zahaya thing till like it's all over.
That's what I got to know.
Yeah, but this has been worked out for years, and we could talk about it. So, if you didn't know, Eddie, I started training at 18 years old.
Right.
And I went to the School of Aces, which was a wrestling promotion in Tennessee, head by a legendary figure in Tennessee, the Southern Dandy, Nicky Diamond. And so through 18 or so, I was a commentator, one of the youngest commentators to ever be a part of anything.
Right.
And there was this promotion called SPW, Southern Pride Wrestling, and it was held by a man called Mike Palazzo, who told everybody, everybody always talked about how great of a promoter he was and everything, and he's
right.
kind of suckered everybody into saying, well, I got my connections and affiliations to the NWA, so you guys will never go hungry and all that, Right. And so he wouldn't put me on the show, but he'll have me commentate because there was this stigma about me, I guess. I looked a little too... I didn't look the part, to say the least. Now think about it, this was the early 2000s. This is still around the early 2000s, around 2008, 2009. So
it's actually the late 2000s.
Yeah, it was around the late 2000s.
So and this was like when indie wrestling was like, I guess starting to explode when these smaller guys were starting to get the spotlight more and more and more.
Yeah, but there were still a lot of places that were stuck in that mindset of you're too small to be anything else.
Right.
I'm 5'10", 197 at that point, but they didn't let me wrestle on the shows. They always found things like, you're a little too short to be this. I don't think that mohawk's really gonna fit you. Like, one of the guys legit said, and I think it was Palazzo himself, just be like, the only black guy I ever seen that wore a mohawk was Mr. T, and you are not built, and you're not that big. Basically saying it wasn't believable. But I had one heck of a voice that was recognizable, so I was either a commentator or I was a manager. So for a good number of years, I was a manager for a lot of guys. I was a play-by-play guy, and for the first month everything was chill, and then everything, I guess, started to change when when people started noticing a few things. But one of the things that started to, I guess, expose him was when he signed this fresh looking, no peach fuzz Brett Haskins to his company. You know Brett Haskins, don't you?
I think that name glitched me a little bit. He's in Valpro, isn't he?
Yeah, he's one of the Valpro guys.
Yeah.
He was which he was a part of that, and oh my god, yeah, it's funny. I met Brett when he was really young. So he brought him in because his father was the financial advisor for his company.
So basically, you had a connection.
He did, but it was like one of those, oh, he got in because of his dad. But no, it was like Brett was actually a very athletic kid. He really wanted to be a wrestler, and he was a rugby player, played lacrosse, pretty athletic in his own right. His dad was probably one of the most richest people in Tennessee. Had that politician kind of money, you know. He was very rich, owned a lot of construction companies. So, and they both were avid wrestling fans, grew up with the old school, you know, so they were really into it. Now, here's where the stuff starts to get fun. Brett came in and everybody was like, okay, you know, he got trained and everything. So he starts pushing Brett because he just has this natural thing about him where he can make the girls just squeal in excitement because he's so youthful looking and everything. Just to further along this, Brent got in there at 16. Palazzo lied to the roster and said he was around my age, 18, 19. Which also made me go, wait, hold the fuck up. Which also made me argue with Palazzo and go, he's 19. That says, wait, he's my age? Why is he getting a shot and I'm not? And he's like, well, he's just got that. He's got the it factor to him, kid. Sorry, he's got the look and everything. And I says, Palazzo, quit BSing me. It's because he's 6'1", isn't he? Because Brett's like around 6 foot. 6 foot, 6'1".
So we're talking like, you said you're 5'10", right?
Yeah, I'm 5'10".
So we're like literally talking like 3 inches.
Yeah.
Like a 2 or 3 inch difference. Like it's big. Like
yeah,
like literally as big as the soda can I'm holding right now.
Yeah.
It's the difference between whether you get a Bushman.
Yeah, that was Tennessee back then. It was stupid. Well, that was his mindset. And I just sat there and I like, Plaza, the fuck. I was like, wait a minute. You mean you're gonna push him because he has this? Because he has a few inches on me? I'm in better shape than most of the guys you got here. It's like I'm young. I'm better. Like I got a better look than most of the guys here. A unique look that can get people to make notice of me and all that. And I went down my list, but he just still was like, I'm sorry, kid, I'm still pushing Haskins. But you know, he's like, you know, everybody trains to be a wrestler and they never really can make it. But hey, you still got a spot in the business for your voice. And I was like, the fuck?
It just rolling my eyes like.
And I'm just sitting here going, you're so fucking lucky you pay me enough, because I just tell you, because I was like, man, you're lucky I was taught to respect my elders, because I would have told you to take that check, shove it up your ass, and I would have walked away, but I didn't, because I was living out my dreams, so to speak, and I just had to find a way to get there.
Right.
So, yeah, Haskins came in. He was really popular. He was getting noticed, getting over. A lot of the guys there they felt something was off about it, but they didn't say nothing because they were like, oh, we're getting paid. Now, some of them, here's another part. Some of them were not smart enough to look at their checks and be like, hold up, something ain't right. A few of them that's been there long enough, especially the main event guys, they look at their checks and they're like, shouldn't I get more than this? I was like, what do you mean? It's like, shouldn't I get more than this? You know?
Like, yeah, I mean, like if it's short, like short $200, you know. Yeah, I mean, yeah, $100, you know. But like when it starts, it's like when it starts happening.
Yeah, and that was like the first time. The first time he would just be like, oh, well, the building had to get used and everything. He made a story up, and I think the second time he told them, just by sheer luck, he was able to get away with it because he said, well, because of that one match you guys had where you damaged a wall, we have to take that out of your check to pay the building to do that. Which a lot of people didn't say much because, yeah, we did kind of damage the building.
Right.
So the first two times, they were like, okay. It's only by sheer luck on that second time that he got away with it. Third, fourth, and other times, then people started going, wait, what is this?
Yeah.
I mean, besides the financial problems, the emotional abuse, and the fact that he just kind of treated certain people the way he wanted to treat them and treat everybody else like garbage was another one. There was a lot of great guys that could have made it and been shown on a national light that will never get a chance to be shown at a national light because of just the mental anguish he put them through. And not only that, was because since you worked at that place, you were pretty much, it was like an official blacklisted from other companies in Tennessee. Nobody would take you because you were from there. So, which led to a lot of...
So I'm guessing that's why people don't stop us, you know, work for this place where, you know.
Yeah, it was...
You say that, you know, it's mud everywhere else. That name, it's mud everywhere else. You know
yeah,
what I mean?
Nobody wanted to get you. So we didn't know that though. I mean, guess our surprise. We tried to take bookings other places, and everybody's like, "Yeah, no, we're not getting you." And they're like, "Why?" And they won't give you an answer, or they'll just be like, "'Cause you're from there." And then it's like, "What the hell does that have to do with anything?" It says, "You're Palazzo's boy. We don't mess with anybody that's Palazzo's boy." And we just like, the fuck? You know, we just like, why? It got so bad because, like, there was one guy I remember who, oh my god, I used to ride with him and I was his manager. His name was Aiden O'Hara. Great talent. He was so passionate about the business. His father was a wrestler in England. Like, he was of Irish descent. His father wrestled in England, and you know, he was there to meet the Gold Dust Trio. You know those guys, and
Yeah.
Toots Mon. He was like, he was something else. And Aiden really loved wrestling, and Palazzo would fucking abuse that every chance he got. He would take and take from him every. Aiden would drive. He lived in, so he moved to Tennessee to get a spot to try out. He lived in Georgia, first off. His home was Georgia. He would drive to Tennessee for shows.
Okay.
And they wouldn't even put him on the show half the time.
What?
Yeah, stupid.
So that's gas money down the phone that you're not getting back.
Yeah, and just never put him on the. They'll put him on a spot. They'll put him on a spot match, or they'll barely put him in anything. And there was a time where we had a match and Aiden messed his knee up, and he told Palazzo on the phone, like, I can't. I was like, sir, I want to be there, but I just got out of surgery. My ACL's torn. I can't. Palazzo literally just says, if you don't make it to the show, then you can find work somewhere else.
Right.
He
That's kind of fucked up.
He drove from his home in Georgia back to Tennessee to do a match. And it was a main event match. He was gonna get this big push that Palazzo promised him. His knee's not even healed. He goes for a drop kick. He goes for a missile drop kick to the top rope. The moment he connected with that guy, I saw in his face excruciating pain. He tore his ACL even further than he already did. He could barely use his leg.
Oh my God.
How about they get back to the back? I hear him chew him out. I hear Palazzo chew him out. And that was the last I saw of him. And the next time I did see him was like a month later. Jesus fuck.
It's not even.
I found him, what a few people said, they found him in his car with a bottle of sleeping pills in his hand. He was unconscious. So it was. So yeah, and a lot of us were at that point. I think the mood was already bad. Then the mood dropped even further after that. When that happened, that just made everybody in the back not like him even more. And then they definitely tried to find a way the hell out of there, but they couldn't because they were stuck there. They tried to go to other places. Now, most of them got lucky and they tried to go out of state, but the problem was his reach was Tennessee, Kentucky, Alabama. So they were like
the part of the Southeast.
Part of the Southeast. So they were like, fuck, let's just go to the Carolinas. A lot of us were like, fuck, let's just go to the Carolinas. And they did. And I went to the Carolinas. And that's when I started actually getting spots in wrestling and stuff. And that's when I had my best of 7 with Chris Douglas that got me noticed. But we were just trying to get away from it. And we would go back there. And I remember there was this guy, Cliff Eriks, who was like our world champion. He was one of the first few guys to just call Mike on his BS so much, but he felt something was off, but he couldn't quite put his finger on it.
Right.
So how about he goes to this NWA event? He gets a shot to go to wrestle at the NWA. And one of the main guys there is like, hey, wait, aren't you from that place, Southern Pride Wrestling? He goes, yeah. He goes, yeah. And he goes, yeah, I am from there. How's Mike Palazzo doing? I says, you probably know Mike Palazzo, right? I mean, you guys hang out a lot, right? Guy goes, who? Mike Palazzo. We don't know nobody named Mike Palazzo. All of a sudden, Dennis Carluzzo comes up and he's like, Dennis, do you know Mike Palazzo? No, I don't know him. And they're like, Eric's looking at them. For one, he feels embarrassed, but at the same time, he's like, what the fuck? So when he gets back, it's like a domino effect. So he confronts Mike in his office and he's like, Mike, do you know anybody in the NWA? Because I went to an NWA event. They don't know you. Oh, they're just messing around a bunch of, they're joking around there. And he's like, no, I went to the head guy. I went to one of the top guys. I went to Carluzzo himself. He said he doesn't know you.
I'm guessing that made more privileged in the conversation.
Oh yeah, it did. Oh, you can hear yelling. And that was the first night, because we had a 3-night event, because we were doing this big tournament. First night, Eric's like arguing with Palazzo, and he said, fuck you, I'm not doing this match. He doesn't show up. So he gives this spot to Haskins. And so Cliff's over there just venting and he's fuming. And he's not doing the show, but he's still in the back just providing support and helping out the guys and everything. He actually goes to the table with me. He just sits with me and commentates with me, which was cool.
Right.
So during the concession, his kid and his wife show up, and his kid is like talking and everything, and his kid's like his kid's 13. And he looks over, and Brent's over there at the table signing autographs. There's like this it's like this fucking legion of girls swarming him. I'm not bullshitting. He just had the face. He looked like he came out of a boy band. That's how he looked. And they were just so into him. So he would see that, and the kid looked at. He's like, "I know that kid. I know who that is."
Oh.
And Cliff's like, "Well, yeah, you've been here a lot of times." And Cliff's like, "Well, yeah, I mean, he does work here with me. He does work here with me, son. So yeah, you've probably seen him a lot of times in matches." He's like, "No, he goes to my high school. I saw him play rugby last. I saw him play rugby last week."
Oh shit! Oh shit!
If you ever wanted to see a young 18-year-old Malik Brown look at that kid and go, "Oh shit," I dropped everything I did. I just turned, and there's a lot of things that'll be implanted in my memory, but to this day, the look on his face was just wonderful. He just blinks for like a few seconds. He looks at his son. He goes, "Say that again?" "He goes to my school, Dad. He plays rugby. I saw him. He's really good at it. I didn't know he was wrestling."
Oh, yeah.
He's like, "Well," he's like, "Okay." His dad still giving him the first. I was like, "Well," and his dad's like, "Well, I mean, he must be pretty good. I think college is really going to go great for him since he's probably a senior, right?" He goes, "Nah, he's a junior."
Yeah, so you get so there's this high school junior working these wrestling shows.
Yeah.
And they're passing him off as he's 19.
Yeah, and then it just got even better, cause so this is going on, and everything's going on, so he can't really confront it. But the next night, Cliff's like, "I'm gonna have a match." So Cliff actually does do his show. He decides to come and do the match. He's facing Haskins, so everything's supposed to be good. So he confronts Mike again. How old is Haskins? Well, he just turned 19 this year. Actually, he turned 17. Because he was 16 when he came in. He turned 17 that year when all this happened. Because it was around August, I believe, when all this shit started to go down. And he's like, "Yeah, he just turned 19. He's like, "Oh, really?"
And you know for a fact.
Yeah, like, yeah, because we just...
because there are people that saw him.
Kids. They're kids that know him because they went to the same school. I heard this. And he's trying to lie. And Cliff's like, "My kid goes to the same school as him."
How's Brett feeling about all this?
He didn't know. He didn't. He was in the dark because he thought, "Oh, I'm living out my dream." He didn't think, like, he thought it was cool that they would be chill with him being 16 working. He didn't know Palazzo was lying to him and lying to everybody. Like, when I say Palazzo played everybody, he played everybody. He even played Haskins. He played Haskins, he played his dad, he played the workers, he played everybody. He lied to Brett and said, "Oh yeah, it's cool that they know you're 16. When actually he was telling the boys, "Oh yeah, he's 18. And the more I thought about it, I just couldn't be pissed. I couldn't be pissed at Brett, because for a while I was actually angry at Brett, because I was like, "What kind of bullshit is this?"
Yeah.
I just came out of.
Because you can't send. Brett doesn't.
Yeah, he didn't. And I felt bad because at that point I kind of felt guilty because I was like, I shouldn't be mad at this kid. He's just a victim as much as we are. Cliff didn't think that though because he was pissed and he thought like, oh, they were all in on it. So he's just like, you mean to tell me you got a fucking kid out here working our shows, our matches? He ain't even old enough to drink, let alone drive, but you got him out here arguing. You got him in our fucking matches, and he ain't but 16. And Mike's just like, I'm telling you, Cliff, he's 17. He's like, Mike, I swear to fucking God, if you keep this line, I'm gonna wring your neck. He threatened him with violence to the point where Mike was like, okay, he's 17, because he was about to really hurt him. That's all Cliff needed to hear. Cliff comes storming out the damn room. Brent, doing his usual stick, goes up, shakes Cliff's hand, tries to shake his hand. He's like, I hope we have a good match out there tonight. Cliff don't even look at him. He just says, I'll see you out of the ring. Walks away. And I'm like, looking at this, and we're all looking at this, and everybody doesn't know what the hell's going on. Everybody doesn't know, even me. And we're just like, something ain't right. Like, you can feel some in the room. And I remember...
The cat's out of the bag now.
I remember the referee for that match before he came out, before he went out there and they were ready for a Haskins match. He told Haskins, kid, Haskins, just to be safe, pack your stuff. There's a fire exit door behind the lockers. Just be ready. He goes, why? He's like, just be ready. So we get ready. Brett comes out to his usual stuff. Cliff comes out to his usual stuff, and they lock up. He tries to go for a headlock. Cliff isn't even selling the fact he's in a headlock. He just picks his head up, and Haskins is like dangling in the air. He freaking slings Haskins off of him. I'm like, oh no. Haskins tries to run off the ropes, and because he thinks he's playing because Haskins doesn't get that he's about to get shot on. He thinks that, oh well, Cliff's just trying to play the big muscle act because I'm half his size. Okay, so he keeps trying to work the match the way he is, and he tries to go for a drop kick and everything. And the moment he tries to go for a drop kick, Cliff moves out of the way and stomps on his head.
Nice.
And then that's when it started. And he just starts stomping and legit punching him. He started legit punching him, and at that time, Brett doesn't know what the hell's going on. What?
And again, it's not like this. It's not like this. No, like it's not his fault at all.
No, it's not. But like I said, Cliff thought that, oh, he's in on it too. He wasn't. He's just as much as a victim as they were. But he didn't know that. He was too pissed off to see that. He just starts beating the shit out of the kid. Haskins at that point is smart enough to roll out of the ring and try to get the hell out of there. But he grabs him he actually like legit grabs him by the back of his neck and just slams him on the ground. And as soon as he slams him on the ground, Haskins is like, fuck that. And he shoots for his legs and takes him down. And now he's trying to contain him. Haskins is 202. Cliff is around 278.
Oh man, that is huge.
And he tries to contain him with a freaking sleeper, like you know those security moves where they choke you. It's like it's like what the Tash mission is, but at the front face. What Samuel Shaw used to do. He tries to hold him like that, just an actual shoot hold to keep him contained, and he can't hold on because his head's reeling because he got slammed on the head. He's bleeding profusely and he's going crazy. And Cliff just starts banging his head like he uses his elbow to just keep elbowing him in the face and smushing Haskins' face in the cement. It's just bad every time. So after that, the whole ring, like the whole locker room, starts coming out.
Yeah.
To separate them and pull Cliff off of them. I actually jumped the table because as soon as I saw Haskins roll out of the ring, and they finally tripped him apart. I jump from the table. I run. I grab Haskins, and he's swinging at me, and I'm like, oh, whoa, 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 whoa. I'm like, get the hell out of here now. Your stuff's in the back. Run.
Right.
He gets his stuff. He's horrified. He's hurt. He's confused. He doesn't know what's going on. I go.
Probably has to go to the hospital because that's shit, right?
Yeah, like his face got broken. The bone underneath his eye socket, like the orbital bone, broke. His nose broke. His jaw broke. Like when I say his face got broken, his face got broken. And he didn't know until he finally got in the car, because his dad was literally outside waiting, because his dad heard the commotion, and somebody told him, just be ready to get your son and speed the hell out of here, because his dad wanted blood, but stopped him. And he freaking goes out the back way, hops in the car, they speed off into the night. So the building shut the show down early, because that was supposed to be the first match.
Right.
Building shut down early, and then everything else that was brought out that was in the dark came into light. So everybody now knew, instead of just me and Cliff, everybody knew that Haskins lied about his age. And everybody was like pissed. So along with that, and the fact that they lost money out of it because of that, and I mean, a lot of people were pissed at Cliff for how he handled it.
Right.
His dad wanted to sue him because, I mean, that's assaulting a minor.
Yeah, obviously.
So along with faking connections to the NWA, that, and the fact that this wasn't the first building that he kind of messed up, he had like a lot of lawsuits at that point.
Good Lord.
So he had like 3 lawsuits right then and there.
Wow.
And it just turned to one big class action lawsuit against him and the company. And we were the one, and basically Danny Haskins, Brett's father, was the one that gave us the lawyer and said, okay, I think you need to take him to court. Because Dan found out what our shows were bringing in, and he was like, why the fuck are they not getting... So let's say you do these huge events that can be streamed online.
Right.
And let's just say that because you did it in a big house and you filled it to the brim, let's say that your buyout is $250,000. So the show itself, you raked in $250,000. Explain to me why you pay your workers, especially you pay your workers $200, $300 in checks, and you pay your main event stars. This is why Eric was pissed. This is why Eric was pissed, and a few others. Why you pay your main event stars $500 out of $250,000?
What?
Yeah. Yeah, they were like,
that makes no sense.
Yeah, no. So what they found out, he would pay them just to keep them silent, because he figured they were stupid enough not to ask questions, and he would put the money in his own account. So he So basically, he gypped the workers, he gypped the buildings, the people that were supporting him, he gypped them and put enough money on them to keep them quiet and think they wouldn't notice. But he would take all that money and put it into his account. And you just be like, well, that explains why he always comes in with a fucking Marcial, comes in with a fucking Maybach all the time. You know, he comes to the show in a Maybach with expensive freaking suits and everything, like he's one of the goddamn Four Horsemen, and everybody else is wrestling for peanuts. So we had a class action lawsuit. We went to court. The whole case itself was a mess because he tried to play innocent and everything, and he says what I did was just to be he says all I did was try to make the best wrestling in all of Tennessee, and it was like, bullshit. No, you ruined people's lives. You've caused superstars you've caused wrestlers to retire. You caused one to kill himself. You put a 16-year-old in danger because you lied to him and his family. And you lied, and not only that, but you possibly tarnished a huge name in professional wrestling by saying you was affiliated with him when you weren't. So he obviously lost the case.
Yeah. I'm sure you and the 54 others that were all made out like bandits, right?
My settlement was $75,000.
Nice.
Haskins was $500,000. Mostly because Eric gave him half of his settlement to pay for his hospital bill, because after a while he felt bad and he apologized like a man to him and said, hey, I'm sorry what happened. I thought you were part of it. It was wrong of me to do that. I got a kid at home too, so that's no way a man like me should do that. So
I was gonna put on that.
So they settled out of court on that one, and he paid for Brett's medical bills with half of his settlement money. And Haskins, I mean, out of everybody there that made out like a bandit, Brett was like one of the biggest ones, because like I said, out of that $250,000, he got half of it. I came out with 75,000. A few others came out with this much and this much. Yeah, everybody that was part of that place got something out of it. And I can already tell you where that 75,000 went for me.
Where'd you do it? Oh, you're sorry.
Well, I took what was left of that company, and I made Battle Pro. Later on down the line, I built that 75,000 into something more. I took what was left of SPW and I turned it into the Battle Pro.
Wow. So basically, if you're watching this, you basically just heard the story of how Battle. I did not know this was a Battle Pro story, but here we are.
No, I mean, where he was at in the territory didn't want to be touched because everybody thought it was cursed. And I was like, oh, I'm gonna do something.
Yeah, I see you trying to do that. Hey, and I'm sure you got to consider return on that 75,000. Like,
oh yeah, I did. I got a really amazing return out of it. So, I mean, no matter the hardships I had, I still find a way to overturn and make it and turn it into a positive. You know what I mean? So
yeah.
And I mean, and Haskins, and I think the thing is, like, Brett grew up to be where he is now, and he's now successful, and I mean, it changed him a little bit, but not too much.
Right. It didn't harden, I guess.
It didn't scar him. It didn't make him.
Right.
But
yeah, that's what.
But it's funny now because he now takes that situation and he turns it into what he is now as a heel, which I think is wonderful for him.
Yeah. And I guess that's the luck. Like, I don't know what the situation. Use that as fuel, and turn it into something else.
And he did, and
Yeah,
can't be.
like
I can't help but to be proud of him. So
yeah, that good on.
fucking traffic.
By the way, as we're doing this, I think a few hours has passed since the NFL ended. We don't know how our teams did yet. I don't know if my Ravens made the playoffs. I don't know if your Titans made the playoffs.
I know that they might get the wild card, but I'm fucking.
Yeah, they were in the winner take all.
I want.
The primetime game was literally going on as how the app was going on. So we I think we've. It's not. I mean, we could literally like shit. Not you because you have to shit. I could check and tell you who won, but I'm afraid because like if I see that that Lakers won, I might toss this one.
If my Titans win, I'll be happy. if we freaking get there, I'm sorry. I'm one of the rare Tennesseans that actually like my football team. So.
Really?
No, but yeah. So, Tennessee. Okay, I'm gonna tell you right now. We got three major sports teams: a hockey team, a basketball team, and a football team.
Right.
The entire state of Nashville does not care about our football team.
City.
Well, the city, you know what I mean.
Right.
The state of Tennessee itself, even the city of Nashville, does not care about our football team. We care more about our hockey team.
Yeah, they turn up.
Oh,
I don't know how that. I don't know how the hell that happened. How the hell Nashville? How the hell hockey worked in Nashville?
That's the weird. I don't know. Trust me. As long as I've lived here, I still try to figure out how the hell hockey made it into Nashville, but I can't say nothing. I mean, we got a freaking soccer team here now, so.
What?
Oh yeah, you didn't know that, did you?
When did this happen?
That's been in production for like 3-4 years. They finally let it happen. We have a soccer team now.
What the?
That's why they kind of took the Tennessee State Fairgrounds and they're turning it into a soccer. They're going to turn it into a soccer arena, which I'm mad about. Because I was like, I hate that. There was a petition actually for a while to save the fairgrounds and make it a wrestling orientated place, but they were like, no. They're just going to take the state fairgrounds and they're going to turn it into a soccer arena.
Fuck it. You know what? It just sent me.
What?
The Tennessee State Fairgrounds were TNA.
Yeah. I mean, there's a lot of history there, but I mean, they still kind of going to turn into a soccer arena. And funny enough, first couple of shows of Battle Pro were at the Asylum, aka the Tennessee State Fairgrounds.
Fairgrounds.
Yeah, the Fairgrounds is a spot I hold near and dear to my heart for a lot of reasons. I went to my first TNA show while I was at the Fairgrounds. I had my first shows of Battle Pro at the Fairgrounds. I had the very last match me and Douglas ever had in our Best of 7 series was at the Fairgrounds. Chris Douglas, he's a fun dude. Actually, he's actually a guy I trained with. He came in the same school as I did. We graduated at around the same time. And he was one of the very first guys to be like, he was one of the very first guys who gave me a chance to be in the ring with him.
Oh, that's nice. That's
yeah, man. He was yeah, I don't think I told you how my first match ever happened.
Oh, I gotta hear this.
Well, okay, so as Loud and Styles the commentator was being recognized a lot, and I got that little FDW show in.
Right.
I still wasn't getting booked because small. And I guess I tried to be unique when I was in FDW. I wore like a fucking wig to make myself look like Randy Savage, because why not? But we had a show I forget where part of Tennessee it was. I don't think it was in Tennessee. I think it was like Kentucky or something. But we had a show, and Douglas was going to be wrestling, and I was just there to support him. I was being a manager for somebody, and the guy he was facing couldn't make it. He had a family issue. He had a family emergency.
When was that?
So he couldn't find no one quick enough because everybody was booked, and he wasn't about to make somebody do double duty.
So
He looked.
that's fine.
Yeah. So he looked at me and he's like, "You got any ring gear, kid?" I go, "Yes, I do." He's like, "All right. You're going to be facing Douglas tonight." I'm like, "Really?" He goes, "Yeah, get your shit." I run to my car, get my stuff. I walk over. I come back in the locker room. I walk over. I tap Chris Douglas on. I tap Douglas on the shoulder, and I put my hand out to shake it. I didn't have to, right? I didn't. We've known each other since we came in the same school together. We trained together. I say, "Mr. Douglas, it's great to see you. I'm your opponent for tonight." Chris looks at me and he freaking just laughs, puts an arm around me. He puts an arm around me and he's like, "All right, so this is how our match is going tonight." And the first thing he says, "You want to do that Poison Rana spot?" "Yes, I do." He's like, all right. He's like, "So we're going over spots." And he's like, "What spots do you want to get in?" I was like, well, can I get this? He goes, "Hell yeah." He's like,
and like I know you guys know each other for since you came up in the same but like you expecting to get all this like first night out, right?
I didn't, and I was shocked. But Chris is like, he's like, "I know what you're thinking. Why the hell am I getting all this? Why the hell am I giving you all this?" He's like, "It's long over fucking due, man. Let's go and kick some ass." He was hyped because he knew what I can do in the ring.
Yeah.
He was one of my biggest fans. A lot of the guys that I trained with were my biggest fans. They were like, "Yo, this kid's gonna go places," and we were always supportive of each other. Well, not a single jealous bone in any of our bodies. So Chris was like, "I'm gonna take this opportunity to enhance both of us," because the main guy promoter wanted to just make it a squash match. Chris was like, "Hell no, it's gonna be more than that."
We're gonna make some magic in this bitch. Right?
Exactly, that was his whole thing. He was like, "Nope, we're gonna go beyond." And so we get out there. I'm nervous as hell, but the goosebumps start to fade when the bell rings and we get ourselves together. So I'm just gonna go through this process. So lock up, headlock, shoot off the ropes, drop down, take down, drop down, leapfrog, hip toss by Douglas. I land on my feet, run back on the ropes, shoulder block. I run the ropes. He kips up, hip tosses me. I get back up, try to go for a Hunikarana. He flips me off. He tries to go for a lariat. I duck. I kick him in the gut. I trip him in the feet. Go for a senton. Miss. We roll away. Standoff. The crowd loses their mind.
Wow.
And I can see Chris breaks kayfabe for like a good minute, and he's smirking, and I'm smirking, and we're both thinking in our heads, "Oh, we're going to mess these guys up tonight." So yeah, we do some spots that are just ridiculous. I did the Poison Rana, which the first time, like, I still say that we really did take care of ourselves weird enough, and we were comfortable enough to put our bodies on the line like we did. I mean, I think Douglas is the only guy I know that's willing to take a poison Rana off the apron. So,
Take what off the apron?
rewind Rana, poison Rana off the apron. He did it. Yeah.
That wow.
I mean, and I took a brain buster on a guardrail, so we can't say much. So yeah, it was that was our first matchup. We just kind of went ballistic, and he treated it as if I wasn't a rookie, and that's what I respect about that, because he told them like he ain't a damn rookie. He's been,
like this guy's got the goods, you know.
yeah, he's like he's not a fucking rookie. He's been here same years as I've been here, because I think that was around my third year I started getting matches, and that around my third year. That's when I faced Douglas. So Douglas and me were like, you know, we've been doing this for 3 years. He's been doing this for 3 years. I'm not gonna treat him like a rookie. And the promoter was smart enough to be like, well, gotta basically stole the show because nobody gave a shit about the other matches.
Like, what was your favorite place to coming up?
Two actually. One is another country, and the other one's here in the USA. Japan is one, obviously. And back here in the States, it's Oregon, like the Portland area. The Portland area is fun to work because, well,
what was Portland like?
Portland, at that point, they were trying to. There was this guy, Dan Freely, who worked he worked a bar, had a lot of successful bars, but he, in his mind one day, was just like, you know what Portland needs? Needs a revival, needs a wrestling revival. So he went out of his way to rebuild the old Portland wrestling territory, but with fresh new faces. And I mean, he has done hella good. It's still going now. And yeah, Portland was one of my favorite places to work because I got a lot of fun matches out of it. And it's funny because there's a lot of places I go that I have memories of. Portland's a memory because I met Vin in Portland. The silence says everything. I said I met Vin Taylor in Portland, and Eddie's like, what the fuck? Yeah, I met Vin Taylor in Portland.
Oh my god.
Yeah.
What?
Yeah.
What was that like? The first time you met?
I told Zahai the story, and he's still like, what the hell? But before all the shit happened. But Vin, this was Vin before he was
Charles Manson.
Yeah, Vin was I don't know how, but I mean, back then he moved to Portland, coming from Ohio to go to school in Portland. I think he was going to the University of Oregon for psychology. I shit you not. He was going to be a psychiatrist. He actually has.
Wow.
he has the fucking doctorants for it. It's weird. Before that, he wasn't as big as he used to be. He was like 200 pounds, but he looked scrawny for a 200-pound person, which was weird.
Right.
He was about 200 pounds, had dirty blonde hair. He looked like an extra in a Rob Zombie film. He just looked rough. And he was working as a busboy at a bar, the same bar that Freely was working with, and that's how he got to be in the Portland wrestling scene. Because Freely told me the story about how he met Vin and how he got him wanted to get him in the ring. And he's like, well, there was a bunch of bikers over here. I think they were Hell's Angels, and they were pissing, and they were just kind of bullying this young couple. And Vin stops in the middle of what he's doing, just goes over to the table. He just stares him in the eyes, and he just goes, "Are you really doing this? Are you really doing this here? If you're going to do this, you can take this outside, or I can make you go outside."
And like Vince not a dude mess like get knocked out or hiding out. He's like,
I don't know how, but he can just. He didn't look intimidating. You know, he didn't look intimidating back then. But just the way he can. But just the way he presents himself. Yeah, he had a presence, and ever since then he had that presence, and that presence scared the piss out of them bikers because they just said, "Hey, we'll stop."
Yeah.
So, but yeah,
I wonder if like any of those bikers like yeah.
Right.
I'm so glad we stopped because.
Yeah, right. So yeah, when he started out, he was a face who tried to get over with the crowd, but
yeah, Vin was a face.
They started him out as a face because I don't know, they just started him off as a face because they didn't feel like, because at that point they had a number 1 and a number 2. They had a number 1 heel and a number 1 face.
All right.
And Freely wanted to see if he can get Vin over just for being a badass, how he looked. The number 1 face was somebody I like to call Verne Gagne's wet dream because he also went to a collegiate college, all-American amateur wrestler, all-American in track and field. Could have went to the Olympics but didn't. There was some rules that he didn't go by, not his fault. And they called him he was the golden boy of Portland. He was the biggest baby face in Portland. This man could do no wrong. He could kick a fucking puppy in the middle of the road and they would blame the puppy for getting in the way of his foot. That's how much he was loved in that area.
Wow.
This man could do no wrong. Every time he would come out, the entirety of the arena would just blow up. You know how they would say, "I'm here to blow the doors down," or kick the doors down? Oh, the doors would get kicked down the moment he comes in. He would get ovations, and they wouldn't stop. They would cheer him from the beginning to the end of the match. If you want to see somebody that was over, that's over.
Wow.
And it was so bad, and like I said, they had a number 2 heel, and the number 2 heels were everyone else on the roster. Didn't matter who it was.
That was the dude.
They would boo the shit out of them. He could be facing another face. It didn't matter. Boo that man. He's not him.
He is that dude. Vin was just that dude.
Vin was just that guy. And not for trying. By God, did they try. But yeah, I forgot his name was Riley Vox. That was the Golden Boy's name. Real great guy. He's actually overseas working now. He's kind of semi-retired. It's a shame though, because he's such a mainstay in Portland. But a lot of people want him because he was just that good. But yeah, Vin, for the lack of trying, he tried so damn hard. He used to always come out with these high top Chuck Taylors that would be worn. Had attire that was based off of Chuck Taylors. He had his own little section of fans called the Taylor Gang, which were his friends and colleagues that he's met at bars or he went to school with. And it would just be this little small section of them, and it was them because let me just say right now, some of these shows in Portland, you can tell who's for who because the majority of them are so white collar, like straight out of the suburbs, or blue collar,
Right.
And then here you see these group of guys and girls, bandanas, tattoo, guy liner, fucking wearing band t-shirts and jackets with patches on them.
You couldn't miss them, right?
Couldn't miss them. And you knew it was them. Cause whenever Slayer starts playing, because Vin came out to Slayer, they would start growling and fucking headbanging. And all you hear was Taylor, Taylor, Taylor. And Vin's headbanging with them, and they're just going on. And they're almost moshing. And the freaking commentators would be like, well, here comes Vin Taylor, and the Taylor gang is in full force here tonight. And it's just a bunch of them and a bunch of blue-collar suburbanites just watching in horror. And they're quiet. Some of them are quiet. The only loud sounds you hear is them going, yeah! Taylor! 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 But he would, that would be his own little crowd, and that would get him over. In a weird way. That got him over because that was just them. But then that stopped because mother felt worried for her kid. And they got them banned and they couldn't come into the arenas anymore. So it was just Taylor by himself. And they actually made a story out of it, funny enough. They actually talked about it over on commentary one time. It was like, oh, well, usually he's here with the Taylor gang, but because of a few problems with the fan base, the owners of the company decided to ban the Taylor gang. I was like, why are you even talking about this?
It's like, it's not like, no need to acknowledge it, right?
Right. I was like, the fuck is this shit?
Like Mars.
Like they tried to make a story out of it. I was like, you don't make a story out of that because it's stupid. No. And yeah, I mean, he had a few matches and they were good, but he didn't get over as much as he wanted. He would always come to the back just pissed. He literally come in the back, just throw stuff at the locker, punch a locker, and he's mad. And nobody wanted to fuck with him because he was so pissed at the time. The only people that came near were me and Vox, and even in Freely. And they were like, Vin, you gotta chill down. He's like, I try so hard, but nobody gets me. Nobody. He's like, I try so hard. And he's like, I get it. So, I have a few matches with him. We all had matches with him. So, here's how Portland's memorable. I was gonna be a heel in Portland.
Mm-hmm.
Because Freely figured, hey, we need a number 2. We really need a number 2 guy. We need a heel. Because we don't have that feud to really make. And I just thought to myself, fuck, the way these guys go, you really don't need a heel. You can pick any motherfucker,
Right.
But he's just like, no, if we're going to, his mind was, forget what those people think. We need a story to follow. We can have every Joe Schmo face him every night, but that's gonna get stale soon. We need something to keep the people's attention. I says, because trust me, they may be on him now, but there's gonna get a time when people start forgetting. We don't need to go that way.
Right.
So they were like, he looks at me and he goes, can you be a heel?
And you're like, sure, right?
I'm like, yeah, I can try. I was a little adamant. I was a little hesitant on being a heel because I don't know, there was a part of me that couldn't be it. I didn't feel like I should be a heel yet. That was me. But I was like, I'll give it a try to do my best. Not like I couldn't be heel. I just was very hesitant on it because I felt like I shouldn't. And I'm hesitating because I don't know whether I should be a heel or not and all that, right?
Right.
And then that one day, Vin's in the locker room again, pissed. And he's just fuming. And I think, and I'm like, huh. I sit next to Vin. I had talked to him. He's like, how you doing, man? You know, just talk. We shoot the shit for a bit, talk about music and everything. Calm him down, and I go, so Freely has this thing where he wants me to be a heel. Ben's like, that's cool. You could probably do it. I says, yeah. I says, but I don't think I deserve it. He looks at me and I go, want to take my place? Vin looks at me and he's like, what do you mean? I go, Vin, if there's anybody here that should be a heel, it's you. Because my thing was, another big reason I didn't do it was because, not because I was hesitant, but also because of the fact that I was about to go on a world tour, to say the least.
Right.
So I couldn't stay there. So that was another reason. I was about to go out of country. I was about to wrestle in other places.
So like, I need someone like, since people need time,
Yeah.
hanging around for.
Exactly. So that's I just told Vin, I was like, look, first I'm pretty hesitant on being it. I don't think I can, not yet anyway. And plus, I'm gonna be in Australia in the next few, like I says, in about 3 days I'll be in Australia for a show. So somebody needs to be the heel. And he says, and you're perfect to be in that. And Vin's like, isn't that a little obvious though? I go, yeah, but he says, exactly, it is. But I know that you can make it work. It's not that hard. You can really make this work. So I tell him what the plan was, what he was going to do with me. I says, here's what I want you to do. So I'm going to have my match with Vox like I usually do. I'm going to shake his hand. I'm going to lead, and I'm going to shake his hand. And instead of me swerving him and low blowing him like I'm supposed to, you're going to jump the rail, rush in the ring, and you're going to take this. Now, because in my head, what I was going to do,
Right.
after I found out about the tour, I actually went to Ace Hardware store and I bought a wrench.
Okay.
I was going to use the wrench to blast Vox. I said, take this wrench and blast Vox in the back of the head with it. He looks at me, looks at the wrench, and I said, you're pissed, use that anger, take it out on them. And he looks. The first time I ever saw him smile, he takes the wrench.
Last Vox, yes.
And I say, he tells me, does Vox know? He says, he'll know. I says, does the guys know? Do Freely know? He goes, I'll tell him. I tell Vox, I don't tell Freely. Because I want him to be surprised too. So we do the spot, and everything's all good. And I get a cheer. The crowd cheers for me because I'm, accepting of their hero and everything. And all of a sudden, in comes this hooded figure with a mask over his face and all of that, and he just blasts Vox in the back of the head. And they're shocked, they're horrified, they're screaming, there's booing, and then he starts beating the crap out of Vox with the wrench.
Oh.
I try to stop him. Vin is like on the spot. I try to stop him. Vin grabs me. Snapmare driver. The first time he ever did the snapmare driver too. And that was the first time anybody in Portland's ever seen that move. They're shocked. He goes back to beating down Vox. Then he picks Vox up. Snapmare driver.
Nice.
Stands up with the wrench in his hand. Pulls off the mask and hood. People already saw by the blonde hair already, and they are screaming, "Oh, you son of a bitch!" and he pulls the mask off. And they're just like, "You go to hell! You go to hell then!"
And meanwhile, like in Vin's mind and your mind, like you're like, got this.
I'm just like, jackpot. Vin is like, "Oh, I'm gonna have fun." And he just smirks, looking at all of them. And funny enough, that's where he's got that moniker, the Charles Manson of virtual wrestling. That's how he got the moniker, because someone said, and they took a picture of him. Someone said that smile he's had was the same smile Charles Manson gave before he was committed to prison for the Hollywood massacre, the Hollywood Hill massacre.
Yeah, that is.
And I just sat there going, "That's bullshit." Then I looked at the picture. I'm like, "Oh well, fuck. Never mind." Then.
And then shit.
Yeah, and I was like, "Oh well, that's something else." Shit. Okay. But yeah, I had to leave at that point, but I heard from him and I saw videos from him, like, oh my god, he ended up being one of the most hated dudes in Portland. Oh my god, they hated that guy. It was great. And what's so great, he took his psychology courses, he took his psychology degree, he put it to good use, and he started to become this cult leader. And he blurred lines so much because he would attack the morals and the ideals that they had, right?
Right.
He even used like real life shit. He just like, "You sat there and took away my friends, my family, because you didn't understand them. And that's your problem now. You don't understand the very flesh that you live in. That's why your children sit there wearing my t-shirts, because for the first time in their lives, they actually can meet an adult that understands them."
Wow. That is like a perfect heel turn right.
Yeah, and it was like, and it was so true, because all these parents were so against their kids and everybody chanting for Vin. Like, because there were points where he was getting chanted for, and and the kids would chant for him. Like, there was like these 13, 16-year-olds just chanting for him. And then it got to the point where the kids would rebel against their parents and wear his t-shirts. You would see an arena full of people where they have like these, they have their Vox t-shirts and everything, right?
Right.
You'll see these 13 to 18-year-olds, almost 20-year-olds wearing Vin's t-shirts. And when Vin comes out, they just want to, give a high five or something. They want him to slap their hands or be acknowledged by Vin or in any way, shape, or form. And he looked at it and he was just like, "Oh my god, I know what I'm gonna say now." He would on the fly come up with stuff because he saw what they were doing. He would notice the twitches and he knows certain ticks in certain people in the crowd. He knew how to get them. So that part where he said, your kids wear my t-shirts because they find someone that understands them, because you don't. That got people. He had old ladies spitting on him.
Wow.
He had fathers wanting to take a swing at him. He was that hated. And he would call himself, and funny enough, he did this promo on Battle Pro one time where he called himself the new leader of the depraved, and he's been calling himself that since Portland. He's been calling himself the new leader of the depraved because his idea is like, you made us into outcasts because you didn't want to understand us. We're outcasts not because it's like we're only outcasts in your eyes, but you are the ones who are the outcasts, and all that. He spent half his time with psychology and reading Charles Manson biographies, and this is what he gets. And I'm like, damn,
I tell you what, they're when they there are worse ways to use a psychology degree, right? That is pretty. That's fucking brilliant. You know?
Oh, yeah, that is. Right.
I tell you what, when we finally get to Vegas, I don't think I'm gonna sleep. And I know I've been used to like getting like this having this total lack of sleep for like the last month or so, and now conspiracy is coming up, and I'll be honest with you, I'm fucking nervous about it.
I don't blame you. I just got a text from Marcus. Marcus is like, I'm on pins and needles.
Yeah.
And DJ
Yeah,
did that too.
Yeah. Yeah. I don't know how many times I was asked last few years, and I guess because I've like seized this so many times. Like, do I really want to do it again? Because the first time around, it ended up being something like, yeah, I forget the numbers, like
It was like
80. No, it was like actually something like.
You did it. I think it was supposed to be a 2-day, but it ended up being like 7 days.
No, it ended up being 10.
10 days. Goddamn.
10 days.
Yeah, I remember 10 days. I remember because I was commentating for a show.
Yeah.
Which was, I think we were part 34, part 40. I commentated at least 2 shows.
I went back on the channel for like the first time in like a bunch of years, like maybe I would say like at least 2 years. It took me a while, like a few months ago, and it took me a while to figure out what the password was because I like forgotten it because like it's been that long since I've been on that channel. Like, I haven't had any use for it because talk about that way I have use for a channel for an event I might not do it again, but an opportunity presented itself to do it again, and it took me a couple as for the first one. And the second thing is like for some odd reason, like more than half of the event is still up, which is fucking amazing.
Yeah, that's weird.
It's like more than half of the event survived 7 years of like copyright strikes or whatever.
Oh god.
And like the however many times YouTube has redesigned itself and like rejiggered itself and whatever. And I still have like video of like every match and every match, like all 10 days I still have that, but like the fact that half of it is it's on YouTube 7 years, like
it's something.
It's a fucking miracle, personally.
Well, you're better than me. I'm so shocked that some of my old stuff is still there because I think the first 2 episodes of Battle Pro had so many issues.
Yeah.
Holy fuck! I gotta fix.
I just wanted. I just want to be as. I just want to be as good as the last time. I just want to be. A lot has changed. A lot different. Like business that we're in. I mean, yeah, there are more leagues, sure, but there are also better leagues. I guess standards are up. I guess.
Oh yeah, standards are very up. And you're talking to the man who is the epitome of a new industry standard.
I see what you did there. Right.
I still get that a lot though. When are you gonna make the NIS again? So like, probably never. Like everybody in question doesn't really want to do that anymore. It was a one-time thing.
But if it happens, but seriously though, if an opportunity presented is to do the NIS again,
I would take it. But the thing was, unfortunately, the whole concept of the NIS kind of formed off of some bad experience. Because I think a lot of us kind of took something that we felt that was happening in real life, and we just kind of took it and we rolled with it. Because, yeah, when the NIS kind of formed, it was me, Smokey, Zach Star, Tyler, Danny, and us. The problem was, Revelations done passed, and I can feel more comfortable talking about certain things now that I just kind of kept to myself and didn't say. But, you know why the NIS kind of formed the first time, right? I mean, storyline wise, you probably do, but like the actual legitimate reason behind it, like, is kind of brings up to how on DC8 started.
Well, lay it on me,
Well, so I think we all know after that one event, everything was just kind of everything was just fucking scattered. But then again, it was already like a certain issue before then, even before when I came in, it was a little weird because you had your people there that were really nice. You had your people that were chilled, and you had like the one or two that felt they were the Brahma bulls, the alpha males, and they wanted to keep people down, if you know what I mean. Right. And those two people in particular were Atlas and Casey. And Atlas tried to be the hard ass that wants to keep and make sure that the boys are okay, but in actuality, I mean, he really doesn't take care of the boys as much as he wants to say he does. And Casey was just out for himself, but those two kind of got along because they're both assholes in their own right. So
yeah,
that was even before then. But after the Joshua Bishop incident and some other stuff, which left a bad taste in Atlas' mouth. The only reason they left a bad taste in Atlas' mouth because Bishop told him straight up in his face, because he sat there and disrespected me and told Atlas in the face, "Who the fuck are you?" Like, he literally, like, Bishop told him in his face. He's like, "You may get away with that shit. You pick on dudes little than you, but I'm bigger than you, bitch. What the fuck you say?" Like, he literally stood up to Atlas and told him off and said, "You sit there and disrespect those. You sit there and disrespect my friends and these other competitors because you think you bigger than them. You think you better than them. Little boy, I've seen guys. It says, little boy, just because you a soldier don't mean shit. There's a merit. It's like there are like 20 other different guys out there that are wrestlers that have fought in the military service, and they will be a little more and they are a lot more humble than you are." And that was Bishop telling them off. And he even kind of stood up for me, and he was just like, "Malik is more of a man than he'll ever be." And he says, and I don't need to say that. He proves that every day. So after that, he obviously had an issue with Bishop after that. But he tries to play it off as, he's trying to go after this company, and he's trying to do this and that. And then the whole Revelations thing happened, and yeah, it just kind of got worse. So Atlas will go out of his way to actually either talk a lot of crap behind my back, spread rumors, do a lot of backstage politicking, but would stay away from all of it. But I knew it was him, because no one else in the back had a problem with me at that point. So in my rage-filled thing, I said, if you remember the promo, you found out I was director of talent relations, and you exposed me for that, and you got the people hating me for it. Yeah. Atlas found out because he had a conversation with D-Wall before he had his falling out with D-Wall over something petty. So he exposed the fact that I was director of talent relations to everybody in the back.
Mm.
And then he would go, why do you think he brings all his Battle Pro guys here? Why do you think he does this? Why do you think he does that? He's trying to turn this company into his own company because he can't run his own company. Right, that's what he's trying to do. Because at that point,
he's trying to turn it to something like DTA, but and like in reality, like all you're trying to do is get these companies.
I'm trying to get them more recognized.
Right.
And it's not just my guys. There's other people too. Because I had connections. But no, he kind of just said that about he just said that about me, and some of them believed it, which I'm sad about, but a few others just said that's bullshit,
Yeah.
Like Edmonds was one of the first few to go, you are full of shit, and like he told Alice straight up. I remember Billy was like one of the first few to go, you're full of shit, man. And Zach Stone, funny enough, was like, Alice, fucking stop. Like Stone wasn't okay, so Stone I think was the only one out of him and Billy and a few others that just sat there going, you're full of shit, because Zach already went through enough shit before, because he didn't like how management was, and he left, and they bitched him out and all that. He took his licks, but he also learned something. He learned a lot about Case. He learned a lot about Atlas. He learned how people are.
Yeah.
So he wasn't as naive as most of the other guys were, because they look at Atlas and they think Atlas is such a great, upstanding guy that can do no wrong. But it's like, yeah, maybe, but he's also very manipulative, and he can be very underhanded, and he can do a lot of shit that you just don't know about.
Yeah.
So if he likes you, he had this mentality: if he likes you, he's gonna make sure you're safe and protected. If he don't like you, he can care less about you. Like, I got onto him about how he treated TJ, because it was a house show match. He threw a lariat and almost broke TJ's nose. He did that with every intention. So, and TJ, he's not a rookie by any right. He knew what happened, but he didn't. He kind of just didn't do nothing, and Atlas took that as a sign of him being submissive, which he wasn't. He was just trying to be the better man. And the one night again he did that. TJ super kicked Atlas as hard as humanly possible, like kicked him straight in the face. And he made sure he wears kick pads, right?
Right.
He actually, at one point in the match, takes his kick pad off and just boots and just like shoot kicks Atlas as hard as humanly possible in his face. And then they got into an argument afterwards, and TJ's like, you had that coming. And he tried to pull that all, since you think you Malik's boys, you think you hot shit. And TJ is like, motherfucker, and TJ looked at him, he's like, how long have you been doing this? And how long have I been doing this? He's like, and TJ kind of shot off at the mouth, which is very rare for him. He just goes, you've been in the Army for how many years and you don't know anything about manners? Well, that set him off. But yeah, apparently it's all past now. He respects him, and by respects him, I mean he doesn't fuck with TJ, because TJ would kick his ass if he wanted to. No, because that's all it took. Because the best thing about Atlas is a straight bully. I'm just saying that right now. He is. If you punk him out, he's gonna respect you. So many guys have done that. Zach has done that. I've done that. TJ has done that. You don't fuck with Dante. Funny enough. I wonder why. He doesn't fuck with Billy. I wonder why. But, he fools everybody else. So, back to why the NIS formed. Tyler knew about what was going on, because he was one of the few, like I said, he was one of those very few people that didn't believe in the bullshit Atlas was spewing and trying to gossiping over, because he legit said that I was trying to take the company over when I wasn't, when D-Wall left. which, quiet as kept, that was his fault that D-Wall left in the first place, because D-Wall was already suffering a fucking mental breakdown and it didn't make it any better that he started complaining about the fact that somebody went over as champion that he didn't want to be their champion, and he decided to punch D-Wall in the face for it. Oh, I'm sorry, did I say that out loud?
It's well, I think this was mentioned.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe.
I wasn't supposed to go over as champion at Revelations. That was the thing. But D-Wall made a split decision. But D-Wall made a last-minute change and said, nope, Moog's keeping the belt. I didn't say anything about keeping the title. D-Wall did that himself because Casey didn't change in a way, because D-Wall was willing to give Casey a chance and make him be the top guy. But then Casey got a little too big for himself, like he always does, and he started demanding more money. D-Wall said, nope. And he said, and then Casey says, well, I guess I'm just walking out of the match then. And D-Wall was like, I guess you are. Like, he called Casey's bluff. So Casey ended up coming to the match, but he felt that Casey was going to no-soul everything that was going to happen. So he basically called Anthony, because Anthony wasn't even supposed to debut back at Revelations. But he called Anthony Lewis up and he said, look, I need a favor. So, last minute change up, Casey was told, oh, well, Anthony's going to interfere, which he was cool about, but what he didn't know was that I was going to get the pin. So, we go through everything. I pin him, the referee counts. I hold Casey down as much as I could. My little ass.
Like you're like just a shader in the 200. And Casey at the time was over.
He was almost 300. He was like 298. I'm a strong motherfucker. I don't think people get that. I bench press. I can bench press. I bench press weight bigger than him. So.
But so you gotta be the team to like Jeff Hardy, because you gotta make sure that the finish that was booked is the finish that goes down.
Yeah, and that's what D-Wall told me. He's just like, when Anthony drops him, go in there, pin him, hold him down. Referee's gonna count you. Just get the fuck out of the ring. I'm like, Darius, you know I don't fear nobody, right? He goes, I know. Just get the belt. Don't try to do anything. I'm gonna take all this. I told him, Darius, if I do this shit, they're gonna think I fucking planned this. And he's like, fuck what they think. You know the truth and I know the truth. I was like, all right. I did it. Rolled out. Atlas is ready to fucking chew D-Wall and me out. He says some shit, brings my name in it. I'm like, I didn't do shit. I'm just following rules. And he's like, oh, I guess your power did this. And I sat there, Atlas, quit fucking being a bitter little shit about everything. And he got mad, and D-Wall called him out on it. And he was just like, I made that decision because Casey decided he was more important than the fucking company. And that's the last thing I need, And there was argument, and then Atlas just punched D-Wall in the face in a heated confrontation. The moment he punched him in the face, D-Wall said, "Fuck it, I'm gone." He left. And that for years, that's what hurt me out of it, was the fact that he said I was the reason D-Wall left. When I sat there going, no, I wasn't the reason D-Wall left. You were the reason that he left. You were the reason, because you punched him in the mouth and made him not want to come back to his own company. And I didn't talk to him after a while because I was mad that he left, and I was kind of pissed that he left me there too, because he left me with a bunch of.
Because now you have to be the one to.
Yeah, like I have to be the one to kind of rein everyone in, because I had to share the company enough to where I could, and Lucinda was more worried about Darius, and so how does that work where Everybody knows that I'm kind of the de facto boss, and I'm a worker too. So they're definitely sketchy of me at that point. They weren't the majority of them weren't sketchy over what Atlas said, because some of them, like I said, they sipped the Kool-Aid and believed it. Other people who were smart enough were like, I'm not gonna believe that bullshit Atlas saying, because I think it's just bitter. I just think it's just jealousy and pettiness. But I'm still worried because you're supposed to be our boss, yet you're the worker too. I don't know how to feel about that, you know?
Right.
And I told them, like, look, I don't like this as much as you guys do. I guess the only reason I am the de facto boss is because the board wanted me to be. I don't want to be. You know, and that's when they got Richard Sylvia to start doing most of the work. That's when they got Richard to do it. And so, in a sense, Richard started being the main decision planner and maker for DCA, and I wasn't. But the fact is, I still had to share the company, and they still were worried that, and most of them still worried I was going to take it from under Richard. I was like, no, I respect Sylvia too damn much to do that. No. But Atlas would push that narrative so much. And so Tyler knew that I wasn't lying. Smokey has always been my ride or die best friend since day one I laced up a pair of boots. Smokey's been there for me. Zach, we met a bit in IPW, but he knew I was on the up and up. Danny, I've known since TCW Asterix, and you know, I got her the job there. And she was like, I think it's stupid. You know? So these were guys, like, they didn't choose to be on my side. The fact is, they just knew that it was stupid. And everybody started saying, oh, they're clicking up. So now, everybody in the back saying, oh, these guys are clicking up. Right?
But in reality, it just happens to a bunch of guys that all feel the same way.
Yeah, and that's what it was. It was like just a bunch of us that felt it was stupid and how I was being treated, and then just the fact that they agreed with the fact of what I was going through, and because most of them knew the truth, everybody started saying I had my own clique. And when Sapphire made her decision,
right,
that made it even worse, because Alice now got all mad and said, oh, like, Alice, I think at one point got super pissed at Tyler and was like, I think you need to stay away from my sister, you know.
Right.
And Tyler's like, I don't think it's none of your damn business. And he's like, that's my sister. I said, and she's like, and she's a grown ass woman that can make her own decisions.
She's a grown ass woman. She can, you know.
Yeah, and she even said She even said it. Like, when I said their relationship has been strained, oh no, it has been, because he chose his own. I'll put it like, he chose his own ego and his pride, and and other delusions he had to ruin his relationship with his own sister, because Sapphire saw the stupidness of it, you know.
Yeah.
And she was like the one holding the olive branch. She's like, I'm sorry for my brother. I promise you he's not always like this. I don't know why he's like this, but you know, he's a really good guy. And I just go, well, I don't see it, because he's putting hell on everybody. He's putting hell on me. He's putting hell on them. And it was like, and if you think he didn't try to put hell on a lot of people, oh, you're wrong. Like, I ain't even talk about how he turned, you know, Smokey, me, and Zach on everybody for that stuff, but
how you turned what? I'm sorry?
How he turned Smokey, Zach, and me on everybody because of that. And he, like the ones that still follow the narrative, pretty much said I was clicking up, and he's like, oh, these are his two boys right here. When, you know, I've known Smokey for years and I barely talked to Zach, except that time in DCA. So, yeah, NIS was kind of draining in a sense because we were fighting the crowd and some of the boys in the back on a lot of stuff. And
Shit.
yeah, and
I,
people
I
wonder
felt
why
like
I was so drained and pissed off all that time. And people wonder like, wow, he's gotten dark over the last couple of months. Yeah, because of that. You'd feel some way too if you were getting mentally hit on every corner, you know.
right.
And that's how it was. I was just mentally, physically done with everything. And also, I just felt guilty because I was like, God, I'm bringing them into it. But they told me millions of times, no, it's just this stupid shit. You didn't bring us into this. We chose to make this into something fun and piss some people off, in which we did.
Yeah.
We were the most over heels without even trying.
Yeah.
Like, it's so funny. We didn't have to, because I told him, I was like, we're not even gonna pretend to be heels. We're just gonna be a group. We don't even need to do anything. I bet you, we don't even need to do anything. You know.
Yeah. Just go out there and
And that's what happened.
Feel in.
Like, like I would come out there. I would occasionally wear a New Industry Standard shirt, and they'd just be like, "Motherfucker, fuck him, that piece of shit," And Tyler would come out just being himself. He didn't have to wear any gear, nothing. I think we were the only group that didn't wear anything that resembled we were part of a group, but we still were considered a group. And we just were hated. We had that, I can't say blacklist heat because I think we were more over than blacklist, but we had that kind of heat. we had the NIS heat. I call it that now.
It's like the kind of heat, like no matter how hard you try, you really can't manufacture it, right?
Yeah, because I had heat with the guys. I had heat with some of the guys, and I had heat with the crowd. But the crowd was heat on me because they were playing along with the fact that I was heel.
Sure.
They were playing along with that. They were cool about it. That was the only thing. The boys though, they hated us. They hated me. They legit hated me. Anybody that followed Casey or Atlas hated me. I'm not gonna name names. I'm gonna be nice.
Right.
But anybody that followed Casey and Atlas, you know who you are. Y'all sat there and dogged me for days on fucking end for shit that I had nothing to do with because you believed that cocksucker when he was the reason all the shit went down. I did nothing.
I bet that still hurts, right?
Huh?
That still hurts, right? Like, you still
To this fuck, yeah, it does because no, because in case you don't realize, I like to give people chances. I like to be that guy. Like for Atlas, I was being nice to Atlas, and he took advantage of that shit, and that fucking hurts. Because there was more stuff I could have said on the microphone that I could have really destroyed him on, but I didn't. Like I could have been there and going, while you were over there feeling bad for yourself and you were gone, and you were sitting there and talking shit about what I've done and trying to talk about me. Explain to me why my little brother had to make sure your kid went to school because daddy forgot to take his kid to school.
Ooh.
Explain to me. No, you know what? Fuck it. I'm at that point. I'm not gonna go there because I feel like we've.
Yeah, I get it. So Matt, I guess I'm gonna.
Yeah, it's pretty much over now. I don't need to say anything else. I pretty much cemented all that in Revelations because it's funny. We actually, I think for the first time in God, how many years we actually sat down in a room and talked. And I just, I told him straight up. I told him all this shit could have been avoided if he was a man, but no, you decided not to be a man. You decided to bullshit everybody, lie to everybody. I don't give a fuck what you feel about me. But I'm gonna tell you this right now. This shit happens again. You ain't gotta worry about D-Wall. You ain't gotta worry about anybody else. I'll come for you. I don't give a fuck what you've done. I says, you are one of the many reasons I can't have any fucking peace in my head now. Because I told him, I was like, you're the reason I can't have fucking peace in my head, and that fucking hurt, and that sickens me more, because the fact that I let someone like you or just anybody get in my head so much that I can't have peace with myself, and it ruins things in my life. I'm mad at myself now because I actually let you get to me. So, if you still want to be a fucking child, you can be a little child in your own corner. I'm not dealing with your shit anymore. And I told him, you know, so I remember Darius went over our match, and it says, I don't care who goes over, it's up to y'all. And, yeah, well, you know who won that match, so.
Yeah, you did. Jaguar knee.
Yep. And he just, after the match, he kind of didn't say nothing. I didn't say nothing to him either. But then everybody started to notice when they just start to change a bit. And, you know, it's funny now because, you know, he wasn't man enough to say I'm sorry, or wasn't even man enough to apologize or nothing. He still isn't man enough to do it. You know who was man enough to say I'm sorry? Casey. Casey fucking Gordon was man enough to apologize to me.
Really apologize?
Yeah, Casey apologized. When he came back, he actually pulled me to the side and he said, I want to apologize for my actions. I want to apologize for how I treated your company, how I treated you, how I treated everything. I knew you were giving me an opportunity and I spit in your face for it. I didn't know how bad I had it until I really had to look back on some stuff. I'm sorry. I ain't man enough to apologize to me about that. Ain't that some stuff? The main dude people thought was gonna be the biggest deal weed, and just what was that?
Has D-Wall apologized for sort of giving you an alert?
Yeah, we had a private conversation. We talked.
Okay, so D-Wall's apologized. Casey's apologized. Atlas still hasn't left all.
No, even after Revelations, he didn't apologize. I don't care. Yes. No, he hasn't. He hasn't, because he doesn't want to admit he was wrong, and that's been his biggest issue. He's very stubborn in that. I said I don't care at this point. If he wants to be that way, he can be that way. And because I washed my hands with it, I'm done. Because I mean, even when I did that interview with you a while back, I was kind of being real by saying, you know, that part of me I don't want to deal with no more, because that really did kind of fuck with my head for a while. I couldn't have no peace, and yeah, I'm kind of done with it now. Carmen's happy I'm back, so.
Have y'all talked? Have y'all talked a lot? You still talk?
Yeah, whenever we can, but mostly it's just Maya and me talking. Like, she's still kind of, like, some other stuff's kind of going on, but she tries her best. She'll send a text, but Maya will talk to me and just be like, she says this, she says that. But nah, like, I think what hurt a bit more was, like, I was kind of worried about how she felt. And I remember when she came back, before she came out, she just, like, pulled the bandana off, and, like, she usually would come in with the bandana over her face and everything. She just, like, pulled that bandana off, looked me in the eye, and just, like, just told me, I know what you did for me. So she's like, whatever story shit they're telling, you know, that's a story, right? That's not true. I go, yeah, I know it's a story. She's like, good, because Because in the actuality, I mean, we all know what's a work and what's not. But I mean, it was like this shit outside the ring that said I was like, which, you know, like we kind of went through some stuff, and if you didn't hear VPOC on TBGW, where he said that shit that I beat her, which was a fucking lie. I never did. But that was a rumor people had for the longest time in DCA that, oh yeah, those two never. That was a rumor that was made by somebody.
That's crazy.
That, oh yeah, Carmen and Malik broke up because he beat her. And I'm like, fuck, you know, so that was another thing, and people used to
like
really
even if that was like remote, like if that was even remotely true, like you'll be pretty much blacklisted from like every company.
I wouldn't be working if that was true. I wouldn't even be here. So you know that's a lie. And you know, Carmen, I think on occasion, one time Carmen just, because she was at Wildcats and she got mad, might have to calm her down. She just sat there, looked at most of the girls, like I think it was Selena and a few others, and she just went, if he ever put his hands on me, he'd be a dead man. First off. Second off, he respects women way too damn much to ever touch a woman. And she had to throw in the joke, right? Unless I ask for it. And then she's like, I don't know who the fuck told you that, but that ain't true. You know?
Yeah.
She goes, the fact that you guys broke up or the fact he beat... and they were like, one of them was like, the fact that you guys broke up or the fact that you beat each other, that he beat you. He goes, neither. Like they asked that, she goes, yes and yes, neither of them are true. And then like that night when she came back from Wildcats, because I was in the back, and mostly I was in the back because I was trying to mentally prep Aubrey for her matches, or like mentally prep her and, you know, speak to her, because she occasionally she still needs that talking to figure herself out on what she's going to do tonight. And Carmen just came up and she's like, I know you don't give a shit, but you know that shit ain't true, right? None of that. I go, yeah, I know it ain't true. She goes, good, so don't believe it is. And she goes, you know, fuck what those dudes say back there. And she even like kind of threw a joke in, and she's like, and if I find out it's Atlas, I'll be there with a baseball bat.
So did you find out where the
Did I find out where they came from? Well, let's just say it's one of the guys that agrees with Atlas on a lot of stuff. I'll just put it like that. I won't say the name. Because if I do say the name, somebody's going to find out who it is, and let's be real, he's probably not going to be seen in DCA again.
No, that's sad. Nothing.
Because it's gotten to that point now where people are like fed up with all this shit.
Yeah.
Like I actually was talking to them. They was like, if this shit happens again, fuck it. They're just getting thrown out. I don't give a fuck what D-Wall says. Like they will physically throw someone out and say, don't fucking come back. That's how much the locker room got fed up with all of it. And yeah, I remember Zach Stone, out of all people, he just came up, he just like yelled, he just like got in the locker room doing like that. It's like, are we grown ass kids, or are we grown ass men or little kids? Because this is stupid. You don't go out here and fuck somebody's personal life up and try to put rumors out here for it. Because he was pissed when he found out what rumors were circulating about me and Carmen. He was very pissed about that. Because he was like, like, I remember he heard about it. Now, he knew who did it. That was the thing. He knew who did it. And that's why I said I'm not naming names. Because pretty much he knew who did it, and I had to stop Zach from doing something reprehensible. Because I still got some authority. So I had to stop Zach from doing something reprehensible. But he knew who did it, and he was just like, that's fucked up. Nobody should go do that. But no, me and Carmen's still cool. Maya's cool with me too. We've always been cool. We just sit, like, most of the stuff like that, we just sit back and laugh. We just sit back and laugh about that and chuckle. Like, we could, it's funny, because now, if anybody ever makes that line, well, I'm a woman beater, I can laugh about it now. Because I know it's not true. But yeah, before then, because that rumor's been around for a bit. Yeah, back then, oh yeah, I wanted to kill people. Not even gonna lie. Oh man, so I think we're about to hit the fucking exit from Vegas now.
Yeah, holy shit.
Yeah, that's long.
We're
Holy shit, I did not know.
we're almost to Vegas.
Oh man, I think
I'm fucking nervous now.
Oh yeah.
I'm gonna soon as we get to the hotel, I'm gonna get some sleep, however little sleep that is.
I'm gonna probably talk to Facing and go over our match.
Oh my!
That's gonna be a phone call.
You got Kenny Omega.
Oh my god.
And it's gonna be. Here's the thing: it's gonna be either like right after WrestleMania. I think it's gonna be like right after.
I don't know how he's gonna do this, but yeah, I got a text from him saying, yeah, I think our match is gonna be great. I've been wanting a match from you since CZW. Can't wait.
Yeah,
I'm like, holy shit, this is gonna be fun. Oh man. So oh wait, oh my god. There's a picture somebody made. Battle of the Machines. Christ almighty. Somebody made a poster. Says Battle of the Machines.
Wow.
Determination versus the best bout machine versus determination machine.
Oh my god, that picture was.
One of my family members drew that. Oh my god. No, my cousin drew this. Oh, that's great.
Oh my god, that's awesome. that's
No, it's funny because I told some of my family members, like, yeah, I'm gonna be a conspiracy. They're like, oh cool, who you facing? And I told them I'm facing Kenny Omega. I'm a god to them now, apparently.
God damn.